Well, Coach, I wanted to just kind of get your impressions, your first impressions of Theo Johnson. Came in from Canada, didn't have the traditional spring period and summer work period with you, but now that you've had him back on campus and been able to practice a little bit, what are your initial impressions on his progress?
Yeah, Theo's done a nice job really acclimating into the room, and really, I think the spring was beneficial for him from a mental standpoint. But overall, I've been impressed with him. He's got all the physical tools to be an elite tight end at this level. But so far, I've been really impressed with his development, his work ethic, how he approaches every day. There's a lot of really positive things that I could say about Theo so far. And there are still the things, just like any freshman, right? There are learned experiences on the field and off the field when you get to college. But I've been very impressed with his maturity and just how he approaches every practice.
Hello?
New boss Wilborn, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know this is a simplistic question, but what is it that makes a guy like Pratt Freiermuth so special? Like, what makes him so good? What makes him the guy that he is?
Yeah, I've said this a lot of times. I think the number one thing that always sticks out to me about Pat before of any of his other attributes is just his emotional maturity, his ability to just take the game one play at a time and kind of live in the moment. And that's how he approaches his offseason from a work ethic standpoint, just to be able to be present, be where his feet are, and to be able to accomplish tasks over and over and over. I would say that sticks out the most to me. And then obviously at this point in his career, just the leadership and the presence that he brings when he's on the field. I've really seen him take a huge role with our younger players this year. But, in my opinion, it really comes down to his emotional maturity, just how he handles big situations, how he thrives in the biggest moments of games. And, he knows that none of that can happen without all of the things that lead up to it. He's one of the few guys and the rare guys that love all of the offseason as much as he does the game, because he understands that those things are going to prepare him to go play in a game well. So I'd say those things just make him really special. And the last thing would be, just his mental approach to the game. In a lot of ways, he's starting to see the game and has for some time, very similar to how a coach does, just his film study habits, his note-taking habits. I think he's really taken another step in that department, and that's obviously going to pay dividends for him.
Tyler Donahue, Lions 247.
Hey, Tyler. Good evening. Thanks for the time tonight.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask about the ability to get back on the field. As an offensive recruiting coordinator, this is specifically important to you. To be able to showcase this offense, how it's changed, how it's evolved, how it might get other positions involved, versus not having the chance to play games this fall and going to the December signing period. What does this set the stage for you to be able to do in finishing off your 2021 class?
Yeah, I think it's a huge advantage for us to go out and showcase, the system that we're running offensively. Obviously, before that, we're excited, for our guys to get a chance to play. The guys who have worked all off season to have a chance for this season. But, I think it definitely helps to be able to get on the field and showcase our offense for guys that maybe haven't made up their mind yet. And, also for our 2021 class so far, which is a smaller class than normal, but also a very quality class. We're super excited about those guys, and they get a chance to see what we're doing on the field as well.
Next up is Thomas Frank Carr, ESPN Radio 1450.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for taking the time today. Question about the offense. Has this year, in the way it's played out, with the amount of time since Kirk Sherrock has gotten here until now, has that helped at all with the installation of a new offense and trying to do that blend that James has always talked about, just from not having to cram it all in during one spring period and one training camp versus having all of this time? Is that fair, or is that just kind of chasing silver linings?
No, I think from an installation standpoint, you're dead on. We had a lot of time to install it mentally and the guys to digest it and to be able to put it together in their mind. But now, right, comes the mad race of getting those physical reps, right? It's one thing to understand it and digest it. It's another thing to be able to go on the field and do it, which is obviously what we're working through through our skill instruction periods, and obviously now transitioning into practice here over the last couple of weeks. But I think it's a fair assessment. We definitely had time to install the offense. Now it's a matter of going out and executing it physically out on the field in live fire.
Jerry DiPaolo, Pittsburgh Tribune Review.
Thanks for your time, Coach. I was just wondering, with the start and stop nature of this whole year, with spring ball being canceled after you're getting ready for it, with a postponement in August, and then you're starting up again, and now you're back to 100%. How will all that starting and stopping affect the play on the field when the games actually start?
Yeah, we won't know until we go play. I'm very hopeful that it won't affect it at all. The one thing through all the starting and stopping, we also have ample opportunities to get on the field, and in a lot of ways you're kind of gaining some of those spring ball practices back through the skill instruction. Maybe not as physical in nature, but you are able to get a little time on the field and sharpen their tools and sharpen their craft. So I'm very hopeful, and with the way our guys have approached it and the way we've approached it as a staff, all the way from the top down, that we'll be able to go out on the field and execute.
Time for a few more questions. Mark Brennan, Lions 247.
Hi, Tyler. Pat said his head was kind of spinning a little bit when he wasn't sure, what was going to happen with the season. What does it mean to you, to the program, for him to be able to come back and play this senior season, especially given how young your room is otherwise?
Yeah, I think number one, you talk about him. I think it means the world to him. That was always his plan, and that's why he's never opted out. He's been here the entire time. That's always been his plan to play this season with his teammates. You talk about a guy, and going back to maybe the first question, you're talking about a guy who loves the game of football. He loves the game of football, everything around it. The off-season work, the winter workouts, the spring ball, everything that's a part of football. Pat Freiermuth loves the game. And I think it means the world to him to have this season and to be able to play football for Penn State again. He's had a great experience here and has really put a lot into it. So I think it means a lot to him, and it means a lot to him to give to his teammates to be here as well. But also definitely from a leadership standpoint, it's great to have him around a relatively young room with him and Zach kind of being the old heads in there. But, just his game experience, how his approach is during the week, his routine weekly to prepare to play. I think that's huge for those guys to see and kind of feed off of.
Top Phoners, Penn Live.
Hi, Tyler. Thanks for your time. You mentioned Zach Kuntz. I wanted to ask you a little bit about him. He's now in his third year, one of the older guys. I think everyone realized when he got to Penn State he needed to get bigger and stronger to be a complete tight end. Now that he's in his third year, what have you seen from him in terms of being maybe more physically ready to be a complete tight end, and what you kind of ask your tight ends to do?
Yeah, I think Zach has made huge strides, starting to kind of put it all together with that physical strength coming apart. And Zach is a super sharp guy. So starting to put it all together and be able to produce it on the field. I've really seen him take a step in that area this training camp. Always been a very gifted guy athletically, but now seeing him, the work he's put in with our nutritionists and everything to get to this point, carrying 250 to 255 and being that guy that's a multi-tool player, right? Which is what all the tight ends in our program strive to be. Not only a great route runner, that's awesome, but also a great run blocker, a great pass protector, good on the perimeter, really just in every facet of the game, and that allows us to use those guys in more multiple ways. So I have seen him take another step. It's been exciting to watch him go out and work. His approach is as good as it's ever been, so I'm excited to see what Zach can do for us this year.
And last question, Audrey Snyder, The Athletic.
Hey, Tyler, thanks for your time. A couple weeks ago, James had mentioned the 2021 class and not being up to the standard. I'm curious, what does this class need to do to close? How are you guys trying to close this out with being as specific as you can be with that kind of thing?
Yeah, I can't be too specific, but
right.
I'll go back to this. It's definitely been an odd year for recruiting, right? And that's, I think the big thing is as a staff and what Coach was saying is we're not going to make any excuses for it. And I think we do have a chance to close strong. Still have a lot of our top targets on our board. And at the same time, you look at this class, we are super excited about the talent we're bringing in. It's a very different class with we have a small senior class in our program. But the guys that we're bringing in, we really think will help bridge the gap and take us to another level in recruiting, especially if we can finish off strong down the trail, which I believe we will.